Thank you for joining us with the news on QTV. My name is Diana Sumbwe. We take a look at stories making headlines. The State House has been accused of shooting former Zambia Air Force Reserve Commander Eric Chimese, who was recently fired over corruption allegations. Lusaka Mayor Miles Sampa has apologized over the photos he posted on social media in which he posed holding a pistol in his right hand. And now the news in detail. State House has been accused of shooting former Zambia Air Force Reserve Commander Eric Chimese, who was recently fired for allegedly involving himself in corrupt practices. Opposition National Democratic Congress NDC consultant Chishimba Kambwili is suspicious that the alleged corrupt practices General Chimese involved himself in may have been rooted. Mr. Kambwili does not think the Anti-Corruption Commission ACC should take too long to probe General Chimese if State House itself was not involved in the alleged corrupt practices. In an interview with QTV News, Mr. Kambwili says he is therefore left with the impression that the dismissal of General Chimese was only to show keeping up appearances. Mr. Kambwili says he is also in this case not surprised by the failure of the Anti-Corruption Commission to investigate ministers mentioned in the Financial Intelligence Center FIC 2017 trending report. He says what all people wanting all corrupt government officials to be prosecuted can do at this end is to just wait until the current government is removed from power.
I first of all want to question what has happened to the issue of Chimase in terms of SEC getting involved with the investigations. You see, I've said, and I want to say it again, that this corruption by Chimase is deep-rooted. It is a corruption that involves the State House. And I don't think there's any investigation that is going to be done to bring him to book. Because if that is done, a lot of people are going to have their fingers bent at State House. So they're just trying to buy time so that it can die a natural death. But I think by and large, as Zambians, we deserve to take this government to task so that we know what is going on. There's no way we can be informed about that extent of corruption and then the matter just goes quiet.
An attempt to get a response from the President's Special Assistant for Press and Public Relations, Amos Chanda, proved futile by broadcast time as his mobile phone went unanswered when he was called. Lusaka Mayor Miles Sampa has apologized over the photos he posted on social media in which he posed holding a pistol in his right hand and threatening to shoot illegal land sellers. In a statement, Mr. Sampa says he regrets his action as it was out of context. Mr. Sampa explains that his photo posting was as a result of the experience he had on Monday, the 27th of August this week, when he was almost abducted by alleged Patriotic Front thugs. He states that he felt that his life was in danger and that out of consequent trauma, he posted the said photos. Mr. Sampa states that he has since met with Catholic priest Father Charles Chilinda, whom he says is his spiritual mentor, for guidance and counseling. He says he has also forgiven the people that attacked him and looks forward to enjoying brotherhood and love with them. Secretary to the Cabinet Roland Musiska has observed the need for enhanced sensitization and public awareness on nuclear science and technologies among African countries. Officiating at the Enhancing Africa's Capacity on Nuclear Security, Safety and Safeguards Nuclear Conference, Dr. Musiska notes that the continent has not recorded any serious negative effects on nuclear science and technologies, despite the public having negative perceptions over it. Dr. Musiska says nuclear science and technologies actually have good benefits for national development. He says Zambia's commitment to supporting nuclear science as a way of sustained economic growth through a long-term plan that will use a friendly source of energies. Dr. Musiska said this in a speech read for him by Cabinet Office Permanent Secretary Bernard Campasa.
In order to sustain economic growth and the industrialization agenda, there is need for a long-term plan to ensure and assure a reliable, environmentally friendly, and efficient source of energy. The nuclear options does not only offer the ideal source of power, it also provides other industrial, agricultural, and medical applications, which will support the ambitious and well-coordinated patriotic front industrialization and economic diversification agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, the nuclear program is envisaged to be undertaken over a time horizon of between 10 and 15 years. Nuclear science is not about populist rhetoric, but it is meant to cater for the needs of the future. The nuclear science and technology program is aimed at creating capacity, synergies, as well as know-how to ensure that Africa benefits from the peaceful uses of nuclear science and technology. As I indicated earlier, there are a number of concerns which people express when it comes to nuclear science and its various applications. Therefore, enhancement of public awareness and sensitization on nuclear science and its applications is vital.
Speaking at the same event, Radiation Protection Authority Executive Bosta Siwila said the conference gives an opportunity for African countries to share notes on safety mechanisms for nuclear energy.
Radiation sources are being used in different sectors of the economy, which includes the health sector, industry, research, mining, and agriculture. And we should take note that despite the beneficial uses of radiation sources, there may be some negative health effects which require serious safeguards, international local safeguards, security, and safety. And due to the benefits of the use of nuclear technology, many countries in Africa and globally which have embarked in this route, they have to adhere to the international standards and international regime on safety and security. Zambia has embarked on this route, and therefore nuclear energy is being part of the diversified energy mix for the development of the country and various aspects of the economy. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference gives an opportunity to us as a regulator and as a host to share a lot of notes on the nuclear path for this country and on the assurance that the regulator is up to the task to ensure that safety, security, and safeguards mechanisms are put in place for safety of the nuclear energy activities in the country.
And European Union representative Robert Reeve has made an assurance of the EU's commitment to supporting awareness on nuclear science in the Southern African region.
The project will further identify and address training needs and will provide a web-based communication system for incidents, movements of nuclear materials, exchanging documents, etc. It will also support the relevant SADC working group. We feel it important that Europe should offer its best practices to our African partners. For instance, the European Regulatory Cooperation Forum brings together European countries with advanced nuclear energy sector, as well as those with small and with emerging nuclear power programs. This is an example that SADC nuclear regulators network may wish to follow, as we face in Southern Africa the same type of forum that unite diverse countries with various use of radioactive materials. Another good practice is the real-time online decision support system called RODOS that collects all relevant data information in a fast, continuous, comprehensive and consistent manner. The web-based communication system under this project may pave the way for African countries to follow also this example. Second, via the EU's instrument contributing to stability and peace, the Directorate General for Development and Cooperation of the European Commission has created 8 EU CBRN Centers of Excellence.
The 2 days conference, which is aimed at providing public awareness on the nuclear science and technology program in Zambia and Africa as a whole, has brought together representatives from countries in the SADC region. Health Minister Chitalu Chilufya has urged the World Health Organization, WHO, to work with ministries of health in African countries to strengthen health security on the continent. Dr. Chilufya says health security, if not enhanced, can reverse economic gains various countries have posted. He has also called on the World Health Organization to encourage African countries to devise mechanisms that will strengthen domestic financing. Dr. Chilufya says Zambia appreciates the contribution that the World Health Organization has, however, contributed to its health transformation agenda. He states that the country will continue collaborating with the World Health Organization in a bid to attain universal health coverage and strengthen health systems. The minister was commenting on the World Health Organization's work on resource mobilization through strengthening partnerships to better support member states at the ongoing 68th World Health Organization Regional Committee meeting in Senegal.
In Zambia, under the leadership of His Excellency President Kachagolungu, we are pursuing a transformational agenda that has placed pressure on strengthening health systems to deliver universal health coverage using primary health care. To do this, we have started addressing all the fundamentals in our health systems. We have embarked on a robust infrastructure expansion program to create access to health services, and furthermore, we are also equipping all the existing health facilities. Thirdly, we have also embarked on a very robust human capital development program where we are targeting recruitment of 30,000 health workers in the next 5 years. And in the second year of our implementation period, we've already recruited 15,000. And thirdly, we've established a medical university where we are training health workers that will support the legacy agenda. Healthcare financing is a cornerstone of our health system strengthening program, and the Zambian Parliament passed into law the National Health Insurance Act No. 2 of 2018 that has established the compulsory national health insurance.
Government has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring that the rural population has access to electricity. Energy Permanent Secretary Imelda Chola says her ministry wants to ensure that rural electrification projects are, however, implemented in a coherent manner. Brigadier General Imelda Chola says her ministry, with the support of the Japan International Cooperation Agency JICA, has to this effect developed a rural electrification master plan. She says the master plan is a blueprint to all rural electrification projects in Zambia. Brigadier General Imelda was speaking in a speech read for her by Ministry of Energy Human Resource Director Rose Machina at the launch of the Non-Governmental Organizations Coordinating Council NGOCC We Effect Power Women project in Lusaka.
For years now, government has prioritized the rural electrification program. You may wish to note that despite all these efforts, only about 4.5% of the rural population has access to electricity, and the ones mostly affected here are women and girls, and a girl child who have to travel long distances in search of firewood. It therefore delights me to hear that NGOCC, through the support of We Effect, are joining in the promotion of the projects on power for the rural women. I'm reliably informed that NGOCC, with the support from We Effect, will implement the Power Women project that promotes the use of alternative energy sources and will build capacities of women to be able to engage in entrepreneurship. It recognizes that women are the primary household energy managers and the key participants in the food system, and offers critical pool of actors in the transition to sustainable energy and general climate resilience mechanism towards a green development strategy.
Speaking at the same launch, NGOCC board chairperson Sarah Longwe said the project will contribute to women's economic independence through entrepreneurship in technology transfers in clean energy. Mrs. Longwe says under this project, women and girls will be trained in using and maintaining marketing solar energy and other alternative sources of energy.
Today, our country faces challenges of overuse of wood and charcoal for cooking and using kerosene lamps and candles for lighting. This is due to lack of alternative energy sources. The national power grid is not sufficiently expanded to guarantee access to electricity, especially for the proportion of the population living in poverty. This has led to the heavy use of solid fuels, which cause rapid deforestation, as alluded to, and harmful to human life itself. To address the problems, the project offers an innovative solution to address the poor supply of alternative energy sources while creating revenue for disadvantaged communities. The project will contribute to the Global Sustainable Goals number 10 and number 13 on reduced inequalities and climate action, respectively.
And We Effect Country Director Martin Sekleti says his organization's partnership with the NGOCC will also help women have a clear and renewable source of energy for cooking.
The focus or the objective is to have empowered women thriving on environmentally friendly livelihoods. And in this aspect, we try to work with NGOCC to address two sustainable development goals. The first one is SDG number 10, which is reducing inequalities. And that's where inequalities, it's the inequalities between the male and the females. So we'd like to work around that SDG, contribute towards attainment of that SDG. The second SDG is SDG number 13, which is climate action. And again, when it comes to the collection of sources of energy and use of sources of energy in the community, in the rural areas, women spend more time to go and collect, for example, firewood, which the chairperson calls the twigs.
Zambia Sugar PLC has announced that over 10 million kwacha will be spent to upgrade the Lubombo Road and support rural communities of Mazabuka Southern Province using cobblestones. The Zambia Sugar is partnering with the International Labour Organization ILO, Barclays Bank, Lafarge and the Road Development Agency to upgrade the 10-kilometer Lubombo Road to enhance agricultural and entrepreneurship in Mazabuka Southern Province. We have more in this report.
Lack of adequate transport systems is one of the major factors hampering development in Zambia and the entire African continent. This problem is most felt in the rural areas. People in these areas are capable of contributing effectively to the development agenda of the country, but their participation is hindered by limited access to good road networks connecting them to the entire country. In Mazabuka, Southern Province, Zambia Sugar, the country's largest sugar manufacturing company, is upgrading the Lubombo Road and support rural communities of Mazabuka. According to the Zambia Sugar Managing Director, the project will provide agricultural activities by providing easy access markets.
It is actually aligned to our vision as a business of creating thriving communities. We believe that by creating thriving communities, we all win. And part of doing that is actually providing this infrastructure that is actually going to be here and enable the community to have something that they can use to develop going forward.
The Zambia Sugar is partnering with the International Labour Organization, Barclays Bank, Lafarge, Road Development Agency to upgrade the 10-kilometer Lubombo Road to enhance agricultural and entrepreneurship in Mazabuka. International Labour Organization Country Director Alexio Msindo says the project will demonstrate the use of labour-based road paving technologies while at the same time promoting skills and enterprise development and job creation for the rural communities in Mazabuka.
Second part of it, Your Royal Highness, is this is not just about the road from the ILO. This is about human development. Once you have the road linking the community, then we are talking of people managing to reach the market, people manage to have access to the hospitals, people having greater connectivity between the community and the country at large. So the opportunity came to work with Zambia Sugar and of course all the other government departments. We thought as ILO, it's something we should work on, something we should bring from a regional perspective, and also hopefully not end with just this partnership, but see how we can expand it with other actors in development in terms of the private sector, the public sector, and us in the UN bringing in development closer to the people where the people are.
And Southern Province Permanent Secretary Mwangala Liomba has commended Zambia Sugar and its partners for the tremendous effort it has put in place to ensure the take-off of the Lubombo Road project.
Zambia Sugar is here to stay, and it is our desire that many other cooperating partners who come on board and partner with Zambia Sugar to extend their corporate social responsibility. You are aware, Your Royal Highness, they have been giving us cases of sugar time and again. But for how long? And how many even benefit from those cases of sugar? Some of the people, because of this diabetes, they are not even eating sugar. So the road will support everybody in this chiefdom.
I'm really thankful. We didn't know that this was going to be so big. Now it has come to be a load on my shoulder. This job they have started is going to leave skills in my people, and they will continue with their skills until death. So we are happy that they have remembered us.
The road construction program will improve the lives of the local population by linking the farming and fishing communities of Mazabuka and creating decent rural jobs using a labor-intensive based approach. Indeed, without good roads, it is difficult to have socially inclusive development interventions. Considering all these facts, transport infrastructure should be accorded priority in the catalogue of development projects by the government in order to transform the living conditions of the rural people. Favorite Kalando reporting for QTV News in Osaka. Lack of adequate.
The opposition Green Party has appealed to Mopani Copper Mine to control all forms of pollution from its tailings waste disposal facility. Party leader Peter Sinkamba has noted with deep concern that the mine's tailing waste disposal facility in Kitwe West area has for some time been discharging dust emissions. Mr. Sinkamba says his concern is particularly that these emissions are in levels which contravene the environmental control laws. He states that the mine's waste disposal facility has now become a hazard, especially to the motorists who drive along Kalulushi-Sabina Road. Mr. Sinkamba says he has observed that the sand dunes also cause serious air pollution to communities living incongruous to said facility, particularly marketeers who trade along the said road. He has told Q News that Mopani Mine is thus bound by the Mines and Minerals Act of 2015 and Environmental Management Act of 2011 to control all forms of pollution from its waste disposal facility. The Bankers Association of Zambia, BAZ, says asset quality still remains a challenge in the banking sector. BAZ Chief Executive Officer Leonard Mwanza says this is in fact the real issue his association is very much concerned about. Mr. Mwanza says non-performing loans are still way above the prudential limited of 10%. He has told Q News by telephone that credit extension, however, slightly picked up in the second quarter of 2018 compared to the first quarter. Mr. Mwanza states that in the second quarter of the year, there was an increase of about 2.9% in terms of the value of the loan book. He says to this effect, the BAZ took note that there was money going to the private sector and individuals in this quarter. Evangelical Youth Alliance International, EYAI, has added its voice in expressing disappointment over the tension that has arisen between the church and the Zambia Center for Interparty Dialogue. EYAI Executive Director Reverend Moses Lungu tells Q News that the unnecessary tension between ZCID and the church over the dialogue process does not inspire hope amongst the citizens. He is of the view that whoever wants to lead the process must have the ability to exercise restraint and show leadership abilities instead of demanding for them. Reverend Lungu states that it does not make sense for the institutions intending to reconcile warring parties disagreeing amongst each other. He has since urged ZCID and the church to lay aside petty interests and ambitions and be serious about the issue of dialogue while putting the interest of the nation first.
We are taken aback with the developments on who should lead the dialogue, the unnecessary tension that has arisen between ZCID and the church. Because whoever wants to lead dialogue should exhibit the marks of the person that has leadership abilities and the person that has the abilities to reconcile two parties that are at war. And if we, between ourselves, we begin to fight each other, we need to know that from both sides, the ZCID and the church, we are not inspiring hope in the nation. This explains that maybe the problems that have affected politicians have to a lesser extent affected both the church and those that are expected actually to be of help. Such institutions like ZCID should be able to read between the lines and understand the importance of bringing all stakeholders together. This dialogue is not just between two parties. This is a national dialogue. We are creating a forum where people should be able to table their grievances.
The Rural Electrification Authority, REA, has partnered with World Vision in increasing the uptake of electricity in rural areas for a period of 3 years. Over 50,000 World Vision clients are expected to benefit from this partnership. Speaking at the signing ceremony of the Memorandum of Understanding for the partnership, REA Chief Executive Officer Geoffrey Msonda says the collaboration is in response to REA's quest to accelerate electricity access and productivity rates in rural communities through effective partnerships. Pastor Msonda says REA will facilitate the provision of electricity infrastructure in rural areas, enshrine gender mainstreaming in rural electrification projects, and support World Vision Zambia in sensitizing the beneficiaries. He has since urged women to take advantage of their activities to be rolled out in their communities to connect to the electricity infrastructure and engage in different economic activities.
So I'm believing that we are taking off at a very, very important and I think common point. And for us, we believe this will be a very good foundation. If you speak to our staff here, you realize that we may not talk about RIA being a faith-based organization, but people work here, they work here not because of money, they work here because they love what they do, and they always feel that they are providing a service. So I think I see that one as a very, very important point of belief that we share as the two institutions. And I have no doubt that we will have very, very few challenges when it comes to implementing this program, because we are driven by the same passion. Ladies and gentlemen, RIA is committed to actualize the vision of effective collaboration with both private and public institutions aimed at accelerating electricity uptake for rural communities as mainstreamed in the 7th National Development Plan.
And World Vision Zambia National Director John Hayes says the organization wants to ensure more pupils and teachers to have access to electricity as it rebuilds schools in communities. Mr. Hayes also disclosed that the REA will also connect electricity to Moyo Hospital in Southern Province, which was recently built by World Vision at a total cost of 1.5 million kwacha.
So far, we've helped over 60,000 people join savings groups where they're able to pay for things, productive assets, such as electricity, consistently because of their increased economic activities. But electrification of irrigation schemes and greater access to modern services facilitated by electricity in rural areas will help these farmers add even more value to their products, thus stimulating more opportunities for them and their families. World Vision Zambia is working with the Ministry in other ways, not just the REA, but with other ministries like the Ministry of General Education to increase the number of children that can read, write, and use numeracy skills. As we renovate and rebuild schools throughout Zambia, especially rural Zambia, in collaboration with the ministry, we welcome this close connection with the Rural Electrification Authority to ensure more pupils and teachers are blessed with the power of electricity.
The Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, says the electoral environment and campaigns for the September 6th by-elections are proceeding smoothly. ECZ Public Relations Manager Margaret Chimanse says this is apart from incidents recorded in Kalambala Ward in Solwezi District and Shikombwe Ward in Kaoma District. Ms. Chimanse has told Q News in a statement that the Commission received a report that UPND and Patriotic Front clashed in Kalambala Ward on Monday, 27th August this week. She states that the opposition UPND ambushed a bus ferrying Patriotic Front cadres who went to attend a rally led by Vice President Inongewina. Ms. Chimanse has disclosed that one of the cadres sustained injuries but is now out of danger. She says in Shikombwe, UPND and PF have been removing each other's campaign posters and using unacceptable language. Ms. Chimanse says to address these issues, the District Conflict Management Committee will meet to deliberate over these matters. Presence of God Ministries founder Christopher Kunda has added his voice in advising government officials to restrain their tempers in public amidst any provocation. Apostle Kunda does not think it is acceptable in a Christian nation to hear a leader hurl insulting language on a citizen in public. He says he is particularly unhappy with the recent insulting language the President's Special Assistant for Press and Public Relations, Amos Chanda, was recently quoted to have used. In a walk-in interview with QTV News, Apostle Kunda says he personally finds it saddening that Mr. Chanda also used discriminatory remarks. Apostle Kunda says it is not right for a person who speaks on behalf of the Republican president to issue remarks that are discriminatory on any citizen suffering from any disease. He states that he does not believe differences that an individual may have with another person can be justification enough to talk about his or her illness.
Because if our leaders, they can actually call somebody and throw insults, which is not good. And we have children now on social media, and that one, everyone is listening on social media what is happening, and it's coming to somebody who speak on the behalf of the president. And we need to condemn that, especially the insults that came from Mr. Amos Chanda. That is not Zambia. We want to see that it's not the character of the Zambian people, especially those who are holding the position of influence he mentioned, you know, like you can have a different with person. You don't go to talking about diseases because...
To end the news, we take a look at stories making headlines once again. The State House has been accused of shielding former Zambia Air Force ZAF commander Eric Chimese, who was recently fired over corruption allegations. And Lusaka Mayor Miles Sampa has apologized over the photos he posted on social media in which he posted holding a pistol in his right hand. On that note, we come to the end of the news. From me, Diana Sumbe. Thank you.